Now, as soon as the Associated Press called the nomination for Hillary Clinton, based essentially on a poll of superdelegates, the pundits on corporate media have been flaunting about how historic this nomination is. Historic, super historic. Oh, it's the first woman to secure the nomination of a major political party. Super historic. I mean, if you don't think it's historic, you must be a sexist. You must be a Bernie bro. So you have to agree with me, right? You have to agree. If you're a woman, you've got to agree. Well, it turns out that most people, a lot of people, don't agree with that. They don't see it as historic at all. In fact, according to a new Morning Consult poll, 4 people out of 10 polled see this as a historic moment. However, 6 in 10 voters, they really don't care. Interesting. Now, the survey of 1,362 voters conducted in the days after Hillary Clinton claimed the requisite number of delegates plus superdelegates, which really, those are the ones who pushed her over the top. Without the superdelegates, without the AP aggressively chasing down superdelegates and saying, who are you going to vote for? Who are you going to vote for? You got to tell me. I don't know, I'll vote for Clinton, I guess. The undecided superdelegates, that's how it flipped. It wasn't just on pledged delegates alone, even though she did win in California. Now, after this poll, right, was done, and after she decided that in the AP and all the news outlets said, okay, before California is even done, Hillary Clinton wins the nomination. That's it, right? Now, the survey found that the sentiment was stronger among women than men, that this was historic. Now, that makes sense, right? To a lot of women, this is kind of a big deal, especially ones who are, and I hate to say this, lower information voters, those who really don't know who Hillary Clinton is, right, as a person. Now, you're saying, wait a minute, she's been one of the most visible politicians on the TV screen for, years, decades. Yeah, but when you get into the policies, people know her on name recognition alone, not about on policy and where she stands. And see, I found that the more I looked into Hillary Clinton, the less impressed I was, especially when she claimed to be a progressive. I know what a progressive looks like. Hillary Clinton, not a progressive. Say more of a centrist, even center-right on some issues. Very hawkish on things like Israel and on Iran. So, even though right now she did work on the Iran deal, which did help us avoid war. So, hey, credit where credit is due. Anyway, only a third, 33% of men said Clinton's achievement was historic, while 42% of women shared that view. Okay, as I said, that makes a lot of sense. Breaking ceilings and stuff, breaking the glass ceiling, breaking barriers, as she says. So, hey, look, nothing wrong with that, right? I'm all about breaking barriers. I'm all about breaking ceilings. Now, groups such as Emily's List, which helps to elect Democratic women, and that's great, I support that, have claimed that her victory is a major moment in American history, pointing out that women didn't even get the right to vote until 1920. Now, Stephanie Schriock, the group's president, posted on Medium, quote, "This is a big deal. Stop everything you're doing to think about the history we just made big deal." Okay. So, yeah, stop to think about it, right? Well, I have stopped to think about it. And the first thing that came to my mind is, okay, so now what? What will change? Maybe more women will run for office or run in politics, and hey, I support that, right? Women make up half the population. Maybe it's not a radical idea to think that maybe they should get some sort of equal representation. But of course that won't happen unless more women run and more women get voted in. So hey, great. Now, here's the thing. I would prefer that women, if they run in progressive ideals. It doesn't really help us if there's Carly Fiorina, for example, on the Republican side, running on a decidedly anti-woman platform. Well, that sucks. That's not good. That's not something to vote for. I mean, she's the person that sits there and claims that Planned Parenthood is selling baby parts, which is a flat-out lie. I don't want somebody like that running, or at least I wouldn't vote for somebody like that. And I would assume that most women or pro-choice Democratic women wouldn't vote for that. Even if it was historic on the Republican side. But anyway, so let's get into more of these results. Now, only 22% of Americans said they viewed Clinton's nomination as a step forward for the country, while 18% said it left them angry, and another 30% said it made them frustrated. I could understand where some of that frustration is coming from. The frustration with establishment politics. Now, about 1 in 10 voters, 12%, said Clinton is the most historic nominee the nation has ever had, while 30% of them said that her nomination was one of the most historic nominations, but not the most historic the nation has ever had. That title actually goes to Barack Obama. Because think about it. Just on optics alone, an African American with the name Barack Hussein Obama getting elected not long after the September 11th attacks. I'm just saying, kind of historic when you think about it. Now, there is more on this, right? Now, Clinton's nomination had only a small effect on whether someone felt proud or not. Only 29% of voters said it made them more proud, and 22% said that it made them less proud, and more than 40% of voters said it had no effect on their pride, and a quarter of them said it was not that notable. That's not really notable, right? Now, on this, before you think this is all just Bernie bros, right? Hating on the women. Well, Morning Consult notes that the results were nearly identical between men and women on that issue. Turns out, both men and women outside the Democratic Party don't seem to find Hillary Clinton all that interesting as a candidate. And not really all that proud either. Now, maybe that has to do with her high unfavorability ratings. It's record. In fact, if Donald Trump wasn't there, she would be the most unpopular candidate running. Thankfully, she had Trump. Now, her ratings, maybe it also has something to do with her being perceived as less honest and trustworthy. She has low ratings in that, too. Or it could be that people don't want to see another Clinton because they're tired of dynastic politics. I mean, think about this, right? We had Clinton, Bush, Obama, and we're facing another Clinton. Dynastic politics, man. A lot of people are sick of that. Or there's the other possibility, of course, is that people still see Hillary Clinton as the face of the establishment. In a time where establishment politics, frankly, is pretty deeply unpopular. And to be fair, I've got to note that some of this might be sexism. That's a factor, certainly. But not voting for a candidate because of their gender is as stupid as voting for a candidate because of their gender. And that's how I feel on the issue. It's not about gender. It should be about issues. And that's the feminist approach. Hey, let's look at the issues of the candidate, where they stand on the issues, and the policies, instead of looking at what's in between your legs. And on the issues, Hillary Clinton represents a status quo that a lot of people are just not very happy with. And therefore, I think they look at her and think, well, look, there's no change. Why should I be excited about that? Why should it be historic to me when there's no change? I mean, what is she going to do? What's her vision? How is she going to make our lives better? How is she going to change the system that right now we're very, very unhappy with? If she's not going to change the system, then what's the point? And I think that's certainly, I certainly know a lot of people who feel that way. Now, I also note that there's a lot of people who can't answer that question on what her vision is. And they think, well, we're just going to get the same old establishment in a different package. How is that historic? It's a fair question, man. Hey, would Carly Fiorina getting the nomination been historic? No, because she does not represent ideas that would help women. Much less anybody else. Now, Hillary Clinton will protect women's rights, as she should, but beyond that, there will be no change. The rich will get richer, Wall Street will do better and better, they'll continue to take risks with your money, and, well, campaign donations will continue to flow to politicians, there will be zero change, the establishment wins again. But what she will be is a symbol. And while symbols are nice, if she doesn't take the opportunity to be a progressive and enact real change, then like Obama, she'll just end up being the first of whatever. In this case, first woman president, but really nothing else. That will be the legacy, instead of being a woman and a bold progressive warrior, which is what we would want to see. That would be historic. Bold progressive reform, turning the nation around from neoliberalism to progressivism. That would be historic change. And I don't see that happening with Hillary Clinton. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Clinton becomes a progressive, or at least she tries. But realistically, I'm not very optimistic based on the record that she has, the rhetoric that she has, and the people that she surrounds herself and the places where she gets her donations. I'm not optimistic. I don't think she'll be a progressive warrior. And so I have to agree that I don't think this will, at the end of the day, be all that historic.